The great hall of the alien marketplace was loud, filled with voices, laughter, and the smell of greed. Hundreds of alien traders gathered under the bright lights, their eyes glowing with hunger for profit. The auction stage was a place of cruelty, where lives were bought and sold like simple objects. Tonight the crowd waited for something amusing, something to laugh at. And then the curtain opened. A small figure stepped forward, trembling under the harsh lights. She was an alien girl, tiny compared to the others who had been sold before. Her body was thin, her skin pale, and her large eyes shone with fear. Chains rattled softly around her wrists, though they seemed unnecessary. She looked too weak to escape. The crowd erupted in laughter. "Is that it?" one alien shouted. "That little thing? She looks like a broken toy," another howled. The auctioneer, a tall reptilian creature with sharp teeth, tried to keep order. He raised his hands, calling for silence, but his own voice carried mockery. "Ladies and gentlemen, of the galaxy, here we have something unique. A rare species, small and delicate. Who will start the bidding?" The crowd laughed harder. Some called out fake numbers just for fun. 2 credits for her bones. No, I'll give 1 credit. She can shine my boots." The alien girl lowered her head. Her small shoulders shook and her eyes filled with tears. She did not understand why she was treated like this. She was alive. She had feelings. But to the crowd, she was nothing more than entertainment. One alien woman leaned toward her friend and whispered loud enough for others to hear, "Why would anyone waste money on that? She can't work, can't fight, can't even stand straight." The laughter grew. The hall turned into a storm of cruel voices. The auctioneer cleared his throat, struggling to stay professional. "Surely someone sees her value. A rare alien species. Perhaps her kind has hidden talents." But the words only fueled the crowd's amusement. "Hidden talents. She can barely breathe," someone shouted. The alien girl's ears rang with their insults. She wished she could disappear. She wished someone, anyone, would look at her as more than trash. Minutes passed, and still no serious bids. The auctioneer's smile faded into frustration. He tapped the stage with his claw. "Come now, my friends, a life is still a life. Who will take this one?" But the crowd jeered louder. "Worthless. Send her back to the trash. Even free I wouldn't. Want her." The alien girl shut her eyes, waiting for the hammer to fall, waiting for her shame to end. Maybe they would throw her away. Maybe she would never leave this place. And then, silence. From the back of the hall, a voice spoke. "I will." The crowd turned in shock. A human stood there, tall, calm, and serious. His face was unreadable, his eyes fixed only on the girl. Slowly, he raised his hand. At first, the hall stayed quiet. Then the laughter returned, but it was different now. Nervous, confused. "A human?" one alien hissed. "He can't be serious. He must be joking." But the man did not smile. He did not laugh. He kept his hand raised, steady as stone. The auctioneer blinked in surprise. "Sir, you wish to place a bid?" The human nodded once. "Yes, I'll take her." The crowd exploded with noise. "Madness, a waste of credits. Why would a human want that thing? He's lost his mind." The human ignored them all. His eyes stayed locked on the girl, who stared back in shock. No one had ever looked at her like that, without hate, without mockery. His gaze was calm, steady, almost gentle. The auctioneer scratched his head, unsure if this was a joke. "Human, you do understand? She is weak, fragile, useless. She might not even live long." The man's voice was firm. "I'll take her." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Some aliens shook their heads. Others whispered rumors. Why would a human want her? Did he know something they did not? Was she hiding power, or was he simply foolish? The girl's heart pounded. She did not know why this stranger wanted her. She had expected chains, pain, and rejection. But instead, he raised his hand for her. The auctioneer, realizing there were no other bids, slammed the hammer down. Bang! Sold! To the human. The hall filled with whispers, suspicion, and anger. The crowd could not understand. But for the girl, something impossible had just happened. For the first time in her life, someone had chosen her. As the guards unlocked her chains, she looked toward the human again. He did not smile, but his hand was still raised, steady and unshaken. And in that moment, the laughter of the crowd faded into nothing. The girl's life had changed forever. The hall still buzzed with disbelief. Even after the hammer fell, the laughter and whispers refused to die. A human had raised his hand. A human had paid for the weakest creature in the room. No one could understand why. The alien girl's chains were unlocked and she stumbled forward. Her legs were weak, almost too thin to carry her. She expected the human to drag her like an object, to pull her with harsh orders as every owner she had seen before. But he did not. He only looked down at her, silent and calm, his hand steady at his side. He didn't move quickly, didn't push or pull. Instead, he bent down slightly, meeting her eyes. His voice was quiet, low enough that the crowd almost missed it. "Come," he said. The girl froze. His tone was not cruel, it was not a command, it sounded more like an invitation. The aliens watching burst into fresh laughter. "Look at that. He speaks to her like she's equal. Maybe he wants a pet. Ha, a weak little pet. Humans are strange, but this one is insane." The girl felt her heart pound in her chest. She had never been spoken to like that before. Not with mockery, not with anger. Her legs shook. But slowly, carefully, she stepped toward him. The human placed his coat around her shoulders. She looked down at the heavy cloth, confused. Why would he give her something warm? Why would he cover her like she mattered? The crowd booed, shouted, and mocked, but the human ignored them all. He guided the girl out of the hall, his steps slow so she could keep up. His silence was louder than the entire audience. As the doors closed behind them, the alien traders muttered among themselves. He must know something. No human wastes money for no reason. What if she has hidden power? What if she is valuable after all? Suspicion grew like fire. Outside, the air was cold, carrying the metallic smell of the city. Bright neon signs flickered over dirty streets, and flying vehicles rushed past. The girl wrapped the coat tighter around herself, still unable to believe what had happened. She expected the human to speak again, to ask her name, to demand service. But he said nothing. He walked with calm steps, as though the chaos of the auction meant nothing to him. Finally, the girl whispered, her voice weak and trembling. Why did you choose me?" The human stopped. He looked at her, his eyes steady, unreadable. Then he said only one sentence. "Because no one else would." The girl's lips parted. She didn't understand. No one else would. Why would he care? He owed her nothing. She was useless, worthless, wasn't she? But he kept walking as if the matter was simple and needed no further explanation. They reached a small shelter on the edge of the marketplace. It was not fancy, just a simple room with walls of metal and a faint light. But compared to the cold stage of the auction, it felt like another world. The human set down a small pack and pulled out food. He handed her a piece of bread, rough and plain. The girl stared at it with wide eyes. No one had ever fed her before. She had always been given scraps or nothing at all. Carefully, she took the bread and bit into it. Tears filled her eyes as she chewed. The human didn't laugh. He didn't mock her hunger. He only poured water into a small cup and gave it to her. The girl whispered again, almost afraid to speak. "Protector." The word slipped from her lips without thought. She didn't know why she called him that, but it felt true. He was the first person who had not laughed at her, not treated her as trash. He had raised his hand for her. The human's eyes softened for a brief moment, but he said nothing. Meanwhile, back in the hall, the traders continued to argue. It doesn't make sense. A human doesn't act without reason. Maybe she is more than she looks. If she is, then we made a mistake letting her go. A shadowy figure, the leader of the traders, leaned forward with a grin. "Follow him. Watch them." If the girl is truly worthless, he will regret it. But if she is not, we will take her back. That night the girl lay curled up in the coat, her body finally warm. She watched the human sitting near the door, awake, alert, as though guarding her. She couldn't understand him. He treated her differently, as if she mattered. Yet he asked for nothing in return. Her eyes slowly closed, and for the first time, she felt safe enough to sleep. But outside the shelter, unseen in the shadows, figures moved. Traders whispered quietly, their glowing eyes fixed on the small room. Let him keep her for now, but soon, we will strike. The human sat in silence, but he knew. He had felt their eyes since leaving the hall. He knew danger was coming. Still, he did not regret raising his hand. He looked once at the sleeping girl. The galaxy had laughed at her price. But in his mind, she was worth far more than they could ever understand, and he would prove it. The night was quiet. Inside the small shelter, the alien girl slept curled under the heavy coat. Her breathing was soft, her body trembling now and then, as if even in dreams she expected cruelty. The human sat near the door, awake, silent, his eyes sharp. He was a soldier of stillness, as if guarding a treasure no one else valued. The galaxy outside laughed at her, but he remained unmoved. At dawn, a weak light entered through the cracks of the shelter. The girl stirred. Slowly, she opened her eyes and blinked. For a moment, she forgot where she was. She thought she was still in chains, still on that stage of shame. But then she saw the coat. She felt warmth, and she saw him, sitting by the door, still watching, still there. Her heart beat fast. Why was he still there? Why had he not abandoned her in the night? The human spoke softly. You're awake. His voice was calm, without command or mockery. She nodded shyly, not daring to answer with words. He handed her a piece of fruit, simple and fresh. She hesitated, staring at it as if it were forbidden. Eat, he said gently. Her fingers shook as she took it. She bit into the fruit, juice dripping down her lips. The taste was sweet, sweeter than anything she had ever eaten. Tears filled her eyes again. She turned her face away, embarrassed by her own weakness. The human said nothing. He only watched, patient and quiet, as if her tears were normal, as if it was fine to be fragile. For the girl, it was strange, too strange. All her life, hands had only hurt. Voices had only insulted. And now, this man gave food, warmth, and silence. He didn't ask her to serve. He didn't laugh. He didn't hurt. It was kindness. A strange kindness. As the day passed, the human prepared to leave the shelter. He gave her small tasks, easy ones. Hold this bag, he said. Stay close. His words were simple, careful. The girl obeyed, though her legs were unsteady. She expected him to scold her when she stumbled, but he didn't. He simply slowed his steps so she could follow. Other aliens on the street watched with curious eyes. They whispered as the pair walked by. That's the girl from the auction. Why is he still keeping her? Humans are strange, but maybe he knows something. The girl kept her head down, feeling their stares burn like fire. Shame filled her chest. She wanted to disappear. Then she felt it, the man's hand resting gently on her shoulder. No force, no chain, just presence. A quiet message. You're not alone. She looked up at him. His face was calm, his eyes forward, ignoring the whispers around them. She felt her shame lessen just a little. Later, they returned to the shelter. The human sat at a small table, checking tools from his pack. The girl sat near him, hugging the coat around her small frame. At last she spoke, her voice trembling. Why are you kind to me? The human didn't look up immediately. He placed a tool back in the pack, then met her eyes. Because you deserve it. The girl's breath caught. Deserve? No one had ever said that to her. She had always been told she deserved nothing, that she was useless, worthless. Trash. Her lips trembled. But I am weak. I can't fight. I can't help you. The man leaned back, silent for a moment. Then he said, "Strength is not always the body. Sometimes it is surviving." She stared at him, not fully understanding. But his words felt heavy, true. That night she could not sleep. She lay awake under the coat, staring at the ceiling, thinking. The human's words circled in her head. You deserve it. Strength is surviving. No one had ever seen her like that before. But outside, beyond the thin metal walls, danger moved. In a shadowy corner of the city, the traders gathered again. The leader slammed his fist on the table. That human knows something. No one spends credits on trash. We must find out why. Another trader leaned forward, his eyes glowing. What if she is more than she looks? What if her bloodline has value? The leader grinned. Then we made a mistake letting her go. But mistakes can be corrected. Watch him, follow him, and, when the time is right, we take her back. They raised their glasses in agreement, their voices filled with greed. Back in the shelter, the girl finally closed her eyes. But her dreams were not peaceful. She saw shadows chasing her. She saw laughter turning into claws. She saw herself taken again. She woke with a cry, tears on her face. The human was already at her side, steady, quiet. Bad dream? He asked softly. She nodded, trembling. He gave no long speech, no false promises. He simply sat beside her until she calmed. His presence was enough. The girl whispered again, without thinking. Protect her. This time the human did not look away. His lips pressed into a thin line, his eyes thoughtful, as if the word carried more weight than she knew. He did not deny it. Outside, unseen eyes glowed in the dark. Traders lurked, waiting. The girl's strange kindness was awakening hope inside her, but in the shadows greed was awakening too, and soon both would collide. The marketplace never truly slept. Even at night, the city's neon signs flickered like restless eyes, and the air buzzed with the hum of ships rising and falling. Behind this noisy life, shadows gathered in a dark tavern on the edge of the city. The alien traders met again. Their faces were hidden in smoke and dim light, their voices low but sharp. The leader, a tall creature with glowing red eyes and a scar across his jaw, slammed his clawed hand against the table. That human. He is not normal, the others murmured. Some laughed nervously, others frowned. He wasted credits, one spat. That girl is nothing, weak and useless. The leader leaned forward, his eyes burning. No, humans are not fools. They fight with reason. If he raised his hand for her, it means something. The room fell silent. Another trader, older and sly, tapped his fingers on the table. Maybe she hides power. Her species is rare. What if she carries a secret worth more than we know? The leader's lips curled into a cruel smile. Then we made a mistake letting her go. But mistakes can be fixed. We will watch him. And when the time comes, we will take her. Glasses clinked together in agreement. Their whispers spread like poison in the night. The girl did not know of these dark plans. In the small shelter, she sat by the table, watching the human repair a tool. His hands were steady, his eyes sharp, every movement calm. She hugged the coat he had given her, its weight comforting, but her mind was full of questions. Why did he care? Why protect her? At last, she whispered, "Protect her." The human glanced up. She lowered her head quickly. "Do you regret it? Buying me?" His eyes softened, but his voice remained steady. "No." Her chest tightened. She wanted to believe him, she wanted to trust. But a part of her heart, scarred by cruelty, whispered that it was impossible. Still, his silence gave her comfort. He never mocked, he never shouted. His quiet was different, safe. That evening, he brought her to the marketplace for supplies. The streets were crowded, full of shouting vendors and flashing lights. The girl stayed close, clutching his sleeve like a frightened child. Whispers followed them. That's her, the auction girl. Why is he keeping her? Humans. Always strange. The girl's face burned with shame. She wanted to hide, to vanish. But then she felt it again, the human's hand on her shoulder. Not heavy, not controlling, just present. It told her without words, "You're not alone." For the first time, she lifted her head slightly and walked beside him instead of behind. But in the crowd, eyes watched. The traders had followed, hidden among the people. They studied the girl and the human, whispering to each other. See how he guards her. He treats her like treasure. She must be valuable. One trader's grin widened. If she is truly rare, she could bring us riches beyond measure. The human will not keep her for long. They slipped back into the shadows, planning their move. That night, the girl tried to sleep, but the whispers of the crowd still echoed in her mind. She turned on the thin bed, restless, her chest heavy with fear. The human sat by the door again, his back straight, his eyes alert. Finally, she whispered, "Why, do you stay awake?" He looked at her, his face unreadable. "Because danger is near." Her eyes widened. "Danger?" He nodded once. "They will come for you." The girl's heart froze. She had expected it. Nothing good ever lasted for her. Then, why keep me? Why not and give me back? The human's gaze was steady, almost fierce. Because you are not theirs, and you will never be again. Her throat tightened. No one had ever said such words to her. She wanted to cry, but instead she whispered the word again. Protector. This time she felt the word settle deep inside her like a truth. Outside, the shadows grew restless. The traders gathered near the shelter, their eyes glowing in the dark. They whispered plans, eager to strike. "Not yet," the leader hissed. "We must be sure. Let the human think he is safe. Let the girl grow comfortable. When the time comes, we will take everything from them." Inside, the girl finally drifted into uneasy sleep. Her dreams showed flashes of her past, chains, laughter, shame. But now another image appeared. A hand raised high, steady, unshaken. A human hand. When she woke, she looked at him sitting near the door, still watching, still guarding. And for the first time, hope sparked inside her heart. But in the shadows, greed burned brighter. The galaxy was beginning to take notice of the little girl no one wanted. And soon, the human's strange act of kindness would lead them both into danger greater than either could imagine. The days passed slowly in the shelter. The girl began to feel something she had never known before. Safety. She woke with food beside her. She slept without chains. She was not mocked, not beaten, not sold again. And always, the human was there. Silent, steady, watchful. Yet even in this fragile peace, shadows crept closer. The traders still followed them, hungry for answers. They waited in alleys, whispered in taverns, and studied every step of the human and the girl. Why guard her? Like treasure? One muttered. There must be something hidden, another replied. And so their suspicion grew. One evening, the girl sat near the door of the shelter, hugging the heavy coat. She felt warm, but her body shook strangely. Her skin glowed faintly, a soft shimmer like moonlight. She pressed her hands against herself, frightened. "Protector," she whispered, "something is wrong with me." The human looked up sharply. His eyes narrowed as he saw the glow spreading across her arms and chest. He moved closer, kneeling in front of her. "Does it hurt?" he asked. She shook her head. "No. But I feel heavy, like something inside me wants to come out." Her voice trembled. She remembered nights from her childhood, when her body would burn with strange light before her captors punished her for it. They had called her cursed, dangerous, broken. The human studied the glow without fear. His hand hovered near her arm, steady but careful. "It's not a curse," he said softly. It's power. Her eyes widened. Power? She had never thought of it that way. To her, it was only shame. That night, her dreams returned. Visions of her people, faces long gone, voices calling. They whispered words she could not understand, but the warmth of them filled her chest. She woke with tears, her body glowing brighter than before. The human placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "Don't fight it," he said, "it's part of you." But the girl was terrified. "If they see me like this, they'll take me again." The human's eyes hardened. "Not while I breathe." Far away, the traders heard whispers of her glow. One of their spies had seen it through the thin walls of the shelter. The news spread like fire. "So it's true," one hissed. "She carries power. A weak body, but strong blood. She is worth more than we imagined." The leader grinned, his sharp teeth glinting. "Then we will strike soon. She belongs to us." Their greed sharpened into violence. The next day, the girl's glow would not fade. It flickered under her skin, spilling into her hands. She pressed them against the table, and for a moment, light spread across the wood like veins of fire. She gasped, pulling back. "I can't stop it," she whispered. The human's gaze stayed calm. "You don't have to stop it, you must learn to carry it." She shook her head. "No, they will fear me. They will laugh even more." "Let them laugh," he said firmly. "Laughter is weak. What you hold is strong." Her eyes stung with tears. His words wrapped around her heart like a shield. Still, fear gnawed inside her. That night, the traders moved closer. They crept through the shadows, surrounding the shelter. Weapons gleamed in the dark. Inside, the girl sat trembling. Her glow brightened again, lighting the room. She clutched the coat, terrified of herself. The human stood at the door, his hand resting on the handle of a weapon. He didn't speak, but his presence was enough. Then, suddenly, the girl cried out. The glow burst from her chest, spreading across the room like a wave of light. The walls shook, dust falling from the ceiling. She gasped, falling to her knees. "I didn't mean to." The human caught her before she hit the floor, steadying her trembling body. "Don't fear it," he whispered. "It's who you are." Her tears fell, glowing like liquid stars. She wanted to believe him, but she could already feel eyes outside. The traders were there. She knew it. Indeed, the leader of the traders watched from the shadows, his grin wide. "So it's true. The little weakling carries the light of her people. That human is guarding more than trash. He is guarding a jewel." His men hissed with excitement. "When do we take her?" "Soon," the leader said. "But not yet. Let her power grow. Then, she will be ours again." Their greed burned, brighter than her glow. Inside the shelter, the human lifted the girl into bed, her body still trembling from the burst of light. She clung to his sleeve, her voice weak. "They will come for me." His voice was steady, certain. "Then let them come." Her eyes widened. She saw no fear in him, only determination. The galaxy had laughed at her price, but this man, this human, saw worth. He would not let go. She whispered once more, "Protect her," before sleep claimed her. The human sat by the door again, his weapon ready, his eyes sharp. He knew the traders were near. He knew war was coming, but he also knew something else. The girl's hidden power was not just dangerous. It was hope, and he would fight the galaxy itself to protect it. The city slept under a blanket of neon light, but the shelter stood silent, like a lone rock against a rising tide. Inside, the girl lay restless, her body faintly glowing as if her heart carried a hidden fire. The human sat by the door as always, weapon at his side, eyes steady, waiting. He knew they would come. And he was right. In the shadows beyond the shelter, the traders crept closer. Their eyes gleamed like hungry wolves. The leader raised his hand, signaling silence. Dozens of feet moved soundlessly, circling the small room. This time, the leader whispered, "The girl is ours. Inside, the girl woke with a start, a sound, a faint scrape outside. Her chest tightened. She looked to the human. "They're here," she whispered. He didn't answer with words. He simply stood, calm and steady, and loaded his weapon. His eyes met hers. In that gaze was a promise: "I will not let them take you." The door burst open. The traitors flooded in, weapons raised, snarling with greed. The girl cried out and stumbled back, her glow flickering brighter with fear. The human stepped forward, shield between her and the attackers. The first traitor lunged, swinging a blade. With a swift move, the human blocked and struck, sending the alien crashing to the floor. The room filled with chaos. "Take the girl!" the leader roared. The traitors rushed forward, but the human fought, like a storm. Every strike was precise, every movement filled with strength. He was outnumbered, but he did not yield. The girl cowered in the corner, clutching the coat around her. She wanted to help, but her body shook with terror. Light flickered across her hands, but she didn't know how to control it. The human's voice cut through the noise, firm and steady. "Don't be afraid." His words struck something deep inside her. Her fear turned to fire. Her glow brightened until the whole room shimmered with light. The traitors hesitated, shielding their eyes. She's burning," one shouted. "The girl screamed, and a burst of energy exploded from her chest. The wall shook, a wave of force throwing several traitors back. Their weapons clattered to the ground as they slammed against the walls. The leader narrowed his eyes, a cruel smile spreading across his scarred face. "So it's true. The weakling carries power." He stepped forward, ignoring the chaos. "Little one, you belong to me. That human cannot protect you forever." The girl trembled, her glow flickering wildly. She looked at the human, desperate. He stood tall, blood on his cheek, but eyes fierce. "She belongs to no one." The leader snarled and lunged, blade flashing. The human met him head-on, their weapons clashing in sparks. The sound rang like thunder, filling the small room. The girl gasped as the fight raged. The leader was strong, his strikes heavy, his claws sharp, but the human did not step back. Every blow he blocked, every strike he returned with precision. Still, the numbers were against him. More traitors recovered and surged forward. The girl's body burned with panic. She felt the energy inside her rise again, hotter, stronger. Her hands glowed like fire, her chest bursting with light. She clutched the coat tight and cried out. Another wave of power exploded. The blast threw half the traitors to the ground, their bodies writhing under the weight of her light. The air hummed with raw energy, shaking dust from the ceiling. The human turned, eyes wide but calm, staring at her. "You saved us." The girl gasped for air, terrified. I didn't mean to." But he shook his head. "It doesn't matter. You are not weak." The traitors crawled to their feet, dazed and furious. The leader's eyes burned with greed. "Stronger than I thought. She will fetch a fortune. Kill the human. Take the girl alive." They charged again. The human gritted his teeth, standing firm. The girl's power flared once more, but she was weakening, her small body trembling from the strain. Still, she forced herself to stand beside him. Her glow wrapped around him like a shield. Together, they faced the storm. The fight raged deep into the night. The human's strikes were relentless, his defense unbreakable. The girl's light, though unstable, blinded their attackers, breaking their rhythm. At last, the traitors began to falter. One by one, they fell back, groaning, their weapons broken, their pride shattered. The leader stood last, his blade dripping with fury. He glared at the human and the glowing girl. "This is not over. You cannot protect her forever. The galaxy will come for her, and when it does, you will both fall." With a final snarl, he retreated into the shadows, his followers dragging themselves behind him. Silence fell. The shelter lay in ruins, its walls cracked, its floor scorched with light. The girl collapsed to her knees, her glow fading. The human caught her before she fell. His voice was firm, steady. "You are safe." Her tears shimmered in the dim light. Protector, I hurt them, I am dangerous. He shook his head. No, you are strong, and strength is not danger, it is choice. Her small hands clutched his sleeve. For the first time, she believed him. The galaxy had laughed at her price. But tonight they had seen her power, and with the human at her side, she would no longer hide. The night of the ambush left the shelter in ruins. Walls cracked, floor scorched, smoke still lingering. The girl sat weak in the human's arms, her glow fading to a soft shimmer. The air was heavy with silence, but her heart pounded with fear. The Bois traitors were gone, but their words remained. The galaxy will come for her. The human looked down at her, his face calm but his eyes fierce. This is only the beginning, he said quietly. They will return, more will come. The girl trembled. Then, what will happen to me? He tightened his grip around her shoulders. What happens will be your choice, not theirs. Her breath caught. No one had ever given her choice before. She had always been an object, a price, a joke. But now, she was something else. At dawn, rumors spread through the city. Traders whispered in fear of the glowing girl. Smugglers carried tales across starports. Soldiers heard whispers in dark taverns. The weakling from the auction? She carries power. A human fought for her alone. He defeated dozens. Maybe she is a weapon. Maybe she is hope. The story spread like fire, and with it, curiosity. The galaxy began to turn its eyes toward the girl no one had wanted. Inside the broken shelter, the girl tried to rise, but her body was weak. The human helped her sit. She looked at him, her large eyes filled with doubt. They won't stop. If I stay with you, you will suffer. He shook his head. I raised my hand. I will never put it down. The girl's throat tightened. His words wrapped around her like armor. Still, she whispered, Why? Why fight for me? He paused. Then he answered simply, Because you deserve to live free. Her tears fell silently. For the first time, she believed those words could be true, but freedom came with danger. That evening, the leader of the traders returned, not with a small group, but with an army. Dozens of ships landed outside the city, soldiers pouring into the streets. Their weapons glowed, their banners dark. The people of the marketplace panicked. They ran and hid as the army marched, their voices thunderous. Give us the girl, the leader roared. His voice echoed across the streets. She belongs to us. The city held its breath. Inside the shelter, the girl's hand shook. She looked at the human, fear in her eyes. Protector, there are too many, we cannot fight them all. The human's voice was calm. Then we do not fight with numbers, we fight with choice. He helped her to her feet. She swayed but stood, her glow flickering across the ruined walls. He stepped beside her, hand on his weapon, ready. The army surrounded the shelter. The leader stepped forward, grinning with greed. Give her to us, human. You cannot stand against us all. Step aside, and I may let you live. The human's reply was steady, unshaken. She is not yours. She will never be yours. The leader snarled. Then you will both die. The soldiers raised their weapons. The air burned with tension. The girl's heart pounded. She felt the energy rise again, stronger, brighter. Her glow spread across her skin like fire, but this time she did not fear it. She remembered the human's words. Strength is choice. Her voice trembled, but it carried across the silence. I am not weak, I am not worthless, I do not belong to you. The leader's grin vanished. Her glow burst into light brighter than the sun. The soldiers staggered back, shielding their eyes. The ground shook, cracks spreading through the earth. The girl lifted her arms, and the energy flowed outward in waves. But this time, it was not wild. It was controlled. Her choice. Her power. The human stood beside her, unafraid, as her light wrapped around them both like a shield. The traitors screamed, their weapons useless against the burning light. One by one, they fell to their knees, blinded, broken. The leader himself stumbled, his scarred face twisted in rage. This is not the end, he shouted. "The galaxy will come for you." The girl's eyes blazed. "Then let them come. I will not hide any more." Her voice rang like thunder. The leader fled into the shadows, his army scattered. When the light faded, the city was silent. The people crept from their hiding places, staring at the girl with awe. No longer did they laugh, no longer did they call her worthless. They whispered instead, "She is powerful. She stood against an army. She is hope." The girl swayed, her body weak, but the human caught her once again. His voice was calm. "You chose. You stood." She looked up at him, tears shining in her eyes. "Because you raised your hand." He gave the faintest smile. "And I will never put it down." From that day, the story spread across the stars. A human who defied the galaxy. A girl no one wanted who became a symbol of strength. Together, they had stood against greed and cruelty. The galaxy had laughed at her price. But now, they would remember her name. And it all began when one human raised his hand and never put it down.